I think it's the perfect revival movie.
Yes.
Because there seems to be a tendency in Hollywood when doing a revival of a franchise or a sequel to a long-awaited sequel. There seems to be two extremes, that you either go in one end where you're just remaking the movie and like, oh, remember that scene? We just did it again. Or you go to the other extreme where you basically say, hey, remember all that stuff of the old movie? Well, it all sucks and it's lame and stupid. Here's the new stuff. It's completely inverted. And like, oh, remember that character you liked? Well, they're old now and they suck. And they're actually like a terrible person.
And he actually hates lightsabers. And you know what?
No,
he might have seen goodness in Darth Vader, the most evil person ever. But no, he tries to kill his nephew.
We talk too much about Star Wars. This is Maverick. Okay. This is Top Gun.
Okay.
But the point still stands. It does suck.
Okay.
But anyway.
Maverick, sorry. Why, hi, Richie. How are you?
Hello, friendo.
How you doing today? Good day?
Well, yeah, sure. Why not?
I thought you were going to say great weekend because we saw Top Gun Maverick.
We did.
And
after seeing the original movie for the first time.
Yes, in preparation for Top Gun Maverick, we watched the original Top Gun, and we won't. This isn't an episode about the original Top Gun. We're going to focus on Maverick, but I think it's important to express your feelings of the original because we didn't have the nostalgic factor of seeing this when we were kids. We saw this literally a week ago before watching the new Top Gun. So what did you think about the original?
Yeah, I actually didn't like the original myself. I overall, almost on every aspect, I just thought it was kind of poor, and I was even bored at times as well. So, and I laughed at spots where I probably should not have laughed.
I think it's an objectively pretty cheesy movie. And I'm afraid to say that because I know I'm affecting so many parents out there that have watched this as they were kids.
Thing is, I like cheese. Like, I'm a genuine lover of cheese. But I just thought this cheese was kind of dull.
Yeah, kind of dull. And they were intending it to be a lot more serious than it came off as. It was, the characters were all very cliche. Well, and the pacing was just slow as well. Yeah.
Like
Tom Cruise himself wasn't.
You don't like Maverick.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of sucks. And like, he kind of gets better at the end, but barely. Unlike in Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick. Let's stay on the positive notes now.
Oh, yeah.
We both loved Top Gun Maverick way more than the original Top Gun.
Way more, yeah.
Significantly.
It's a great movie.
Oh, and this movie's been doing fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It hit over 150 million over the weekend, Memorial Day weekend. It's Tom Cruise's best open ever. In his entire career, his 40-year career where he's had Jerry Maguire, all the Mission Impossibles. Out of everything, this has done the greatest.
Wow. And he deserves it.
Hats off to him because this movie was being filmed during COVID, and they were about to release it, not in theaters, but they were going to release it like other movies over streaming. And Tom Cruise put the hammer down and said, nope, we're waiting until people can see this in theaters. And it looks like it was a great decision on his part.
Yeah, I mean, the streaming the streaming movies decision seems to not return a lot of results. Doesn't seem to bring in the box office dollars.
It definitely hurts it. And there was that whole lawsuit that, Scarlett Johansson did against Disney because Black Widow was released both on streaming and in theaters, and so there was a whole ordeal.
Yeah, I mean, but that's more legal stuff where, because with the movie she gets a percentage of how well the movie does.
Yeah.
And with streaming she doesn't. There's nothing in her contract for it. So she gets nothing extra from it. And the streaming itself took away business from the in-person movie tickets. So it's argued that Disney undercut its own movie, and one of those consequences was basically not having to pay Scarlett Johansson.
Do you know if she won that, or is that still ongoing?
I'm not sure.
Huh.
I'd probably look into it, but it was a while ago.
Top Gun Maverick.
let's get on to Top Gun.
Why don't you
Maverick.
just say our rating of this
Yeah,
movie?
so-
Let's rating, then we'll go and say why we did what we liked about the movie, what we loved about the movie, and what we didn't.
Overall, total score is an overall 8 out of 10. A solid movie, solid score, like really great.
8 out of 10 on the dot.
8 out of 10 on the dot.
So we use decimals, but it's 8 out of 10 on the dot.
Well, my the category scores have some
But
points.
your overall score is an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, 8 out of 10.
I'm just shocked because mine is exactly an 8 out of 10.
Hey, look at that.
And we didn't plan that. Let's
Yeah.
go. We both have an exact 8 out of 10 for this movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
For people at home, we try to avoid telling each other what we rated the movie before we come down to film. That way we can kind of keep our discussion kind of fresh. So we try not to plan too much ahead of time. But yeah, wow, an exact 8 out of 10. We don't often like precisely agree that often. So
No, exactly. We've never had the exact same score on a movie, especially since we don't just rate things 7, 8, 9.
yeah,
Blanket like that. Usually our ratings are janky.
We're very anal about
5.3, 6.8. But we actually hit the same score. First time ever.
yeah, there you go. But okay, so what were your thoughts going into the movie? So after we watched the original Top Gun, and we're gonna go see Top Gun Maverick, what was your thoughts going into it?
Low expectations. Just because I personally didn't like the original movie. And we weren't even gonna, this wasn't on our radar, Top Gun Maverick, but we bought those passes at the local movie theater where we get a free ticket each month. Great deal, by the way. Yeah, it's great seats and everything. So we bought those free passes, and this was the only movie out within a month span that was worth going to see. So we went, okay, why not watch this one? It's coming up, so we went and saw it. So it was more of a, I guess we'll see it.
Yeah.
I guess it's worth it.
I mean, I've seen the trailer when going to a couple other movies. I saw the trailer for Top Gun and was just not that interested.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, another Top Gun movie. Okay.
Are you
Probably not for me.
Yeah, are you typically into plane movies in general? I can't even think of another big airplane, but action plane movies.
I know there's plenty, and people in the comments will set them out. Like, I understand that. It's normally not been my thing. I like flight. I love planes. They're neat, and I like going to the Air and Space Museum.
Yeah.
Both of them. But never watched a lot of action plane movies, so never been my thing.
Also, we've been screwed before with remakes. And I shouldn't say remakes, not a remake, but a continuation.
Oh, in general.
In general, it's when you try to revitalize a franchise, where you bring up a dead franchise like the Matrix 4 that comes out, or a Ghostbusters that comes out, Ghostbusters 2016, or you have all these nostalgic
or Star Wars
continuation. Star Wars, another
entire
one.
thing.
So these continuations from movies decades old typically just come off as so hacky and uninteresting and uninspired. And that's what shocked me. I was going into this thinking it was going to be just remember this the whole time, and not fun. But did you find that to be true?
I think it's the perfect revival movie.
Yes.
Because there seems to be a tendency in Hollywood when doing a revival of a franchise or a sequel to a long-awaited sequel. There seems to be two extremes, that you either go in one end where you're just remaking the movie and like, oh, remember that scene? We just did it again. Or you go to the other extreme where you basically say, hey, remember all that stuff of the old movie? Well, it all sucks and it's lame and stupid. Here's the new stuff. It's completely inverted. And like, oh, remember that character you liked? Well, they're old now and they suck. And they're actually like a terrible person.
And he actually hates lightsabers. And you know what?
No,
Who
no,
cares?
we're
He might have seen
it.
goodness
We're going
in
to
Darth
move
Vader,
past it.
the most evil person ever. But no, he tries to kill his nephew
We talk
because he's
too
not.
much about Star Wars. This is Maverick. This is Top Gun.
Okay.
But the point still stands. It does suck.
Okay.
But anyway.
Maverick, sorry.
It's between those two extremes. But Top Gun Maverick, it balances those two, where it gives you what you wanted in the original, so it doesn't spurn your original character. It makes, Tom Cruise's character, Maverick, awesome.
Arguably better.
Oh, not way better. Way better as a character. And then also does some new stuff. Doesn't just remake the movie. Gives you some shots of like, oh, nice. They had the sports scene. The shirtless guy sports scene. Awesome. They're doing that stuff. They're
Yeah.
paying homage, but it's clearly different enough, and they up the stakes in a reasonable level. It's exactly what everyone wants, while also doing something a bit new, new and fresh.
I couldn't agree. Did you rate this 8 out of 10 or something? Do we just agree
I know.
exactly? That's exactly my thoughts.
I'm fascinated to see if any of our category scores are lined
Let's see,
up as
because
well.
let's get into the details of this movie. What
Okay.
was want to go first? Emotional impact, how we felt about the movie.
Emotional impact, exactly 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 for you?
Yeah.
I give it an 8.8 out of 10.
There you go. Wow.
And reason I think I gave that extra 0.8, this is what the most emotional part to the movie was for me, was the final act, the final third of the movie it's a perfect movie theater popcorn finale of a movie. It's just really freaking enjoyable.
Oh, yeah?
It's so much fun. And my rating started off lower, especially on emotional impact. I left the theater going, "Oh, that was good." And then I woke up the next day and went, "Oh, that was really good."
Oh, by the way, if it's not obvious, spoilers.
Oh yeah, no, I think they got it.
I'm terrible at doing that. I'm really bad at because I forget that it's a camera. And
Yes.
anyway, so
But did you-
spoilers for Top Gun Maverick. I'm talking about spoiler stuff.
Yes,
Anyway,
all spoiler stuff. Did you
the
did you
third
agree
act.
with me there?
Oh, yeah.
The
Well-
third act was the best part.
the best part of the third act, though, is how there's basically two climax fights.
Yes.
There's the one where you anticipated, and you think, like, I initially thought, like, oh, it's the sequel. Maverick's gonna die. He sacrificed himself, and like, just okay. Then we end, but no, they come out of nowhere, out of left field, with basically a second finale.
And it's so cool because
It was so great.
it subverts your expectations. And by the way, the plot's not. We'll get into the plot later.
Yeah,
But just for the emotional impact part of this, how you felt, it's not like they're doing crazy new things of, oh my God, the twists and turns. No, you can expect most of it, but there's enough subversion in there to where all the trailer is, it's called Top Gun. There's flying, it's airplanes. And so then Tom Cruise crashes and he's on the ground with Miles Teller Rooster.
Yeah.
That's his
call
name,
sign.
the call sign. When he's with Rooster, and that whole scene, it's such a subversion because whoa, why is there action not in the air right now? And we're going into the next climax of the movie.
yeah.
And was that your favorite part of the emotion you felt toward the movie? Was that final act just killed it?
Oh yeah, no, that's what really put it over the edge for me. It was just so exciting. I was on the edge of my seat. I didn't really see it coming. And so action, I was on the edge of my seat.
Yes.
And then also got a little misty-eyed. A couple times.
Which part got you the most misty-eyed? I want to see if we agree here. I hope we agree.
I think it has to be like it's what my dad would have done.
Yeah, that was
Am I
good.
gonna
That's second for me, but that was really good.
Okay,
So
what was your first one then?
the original Top Gun, we just explained that the original Top Gun, I didn't really care much for it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when Rooster was playing on the piano, great ball of fire, and Tom Cruise is looking through the window.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that got me.
That hurt a little.
Got me.
That
And-
hurt.
Oh, well, we're gonna get the characters, but oh my God. Oh.
Well, let's actually get right into it.
Wanna get
Characters.
Well,
What score did you give it?
Do you want to touch up on anything else about emotional? Like, what did you think about the first part of the movie? Did you have any sort of thoughts on that before we moved on?
Oh, I just thought it was exciting and well done. Like I
Well
like.
done.
I was invested in the characters. I wanted to see where they're going. I thought the opening scene with the Blackbird 2 basically
Yes.
was so cool.
Oh,
and
how could we
was
not mention
awesome.
that? Yeah.
Also, just I liked that line of like, you pilots, you're being replaced. That the world's not going to need you anymore. And Tom Cruise saying like, maybe, but today's not that day. And like, yeah, you feel like that was a lot of that. I think speaks to like practical effects versus CGI. Because
We'll get into cinematography.
But
Oh yeah.
that's what it felt.
Yeah.
That's what that line felt like. It was like, oh, practical effects are a thing of the past, and Tom's just like, that may be, but today is not that.
Today's not
This
that
movie
day.
is not that movie.
This movie's getting released in theaters. Screw you, COVID.
We're gonna use as little CGI as physically possible. It was great.
Yes, characters.
Go right into characters. Characters I loved way more than the original. So I gave this one a 7.5 out of 10.
Very good. I gave it 7.7.
There you go.
So we're right on par there. And I think what really gave that the best character to me was Rooster.
Mm,
Tom Cruise is so Maverick is very close.
it's between those two.
It is. Those two are the best. Miles Teller does such a fantastic job as Goose's kid. I felt more connection to Goose via Miles Teller than I did watching Goose in the original movie. He did such a great job of showing the grudge he had against Maverick and
Also, his apprehension as a fighter pilot.
yes.
Like, the fact his dad's death is certainly, it's held him back as a pilot.
Yeah.
And, like, he is good, but he could be great.
Right.
And it's because of he's not willing to just trust his instincts. He's always being extra cautious, which, of course he is. Like, it's in the back of his mind, but he has that moment of, like, letting go of the past of his dad's death and accepting it, moving on, and trusting himself. Because a lot of that is he doesn't believe in himself enough to trust his own instincts.
Yeah, one of the messages of the movie. Don't think.
Don't think.
Do it.
Do it.
Now, what do you think about Maverick?
Oh, I liked him so much more. Because he still has all that, that cocky personality. He still has that gung-ho attitude. He's a wild ball, but he's a wild ball who has been tempered with experience.
Yes.
So it's where he should be. Like, all that bravado is actually justified in this movie. Where in the first movie, he's got that bravado, but in all honesty, he's in the wrong for most of the movie. He is very wrong for his, like, how he treats his other flight mates and
In original Top Gun.
Yeah.
I found it really hard to root for him in the original Top Gun.
Yeah, I did.
Whereas this one, he was just a great character.
Oh yeah, his journey, instead of learning to be, more of a team player. The first one's more learn to be a team player, learn to accept the responsibility, move on. But basically, like, help out your friends. Don't go it alone. In this, he's already learned that lesson, so we're not treading that. He's trying to teach the others that lesson, and then also accept move on from the death of his best friend and responsibility with basically a surrogate son. So, great.
I love so much more the lens of this, of looking through the teacher's lens, the Top Gun teacher rather than the Top Gun student. It was so much cooler to see. And you got your the classic scene where they kick Maverick out of the bar, and oh man, who could teach us, the best pilots ever? Oh great, it's the guy we kicked out of the bar. Oh no. And you just love to see that, the little walk in and the realization. Just cool scenes like that. And what do you think about the love interest?
She was
Pam. Was her name Pam?
No, her Penny.
Penny.
Yeah.
Which, so cool that Penny was mentioned in the original Top Gun.
Yeah, the Admiral's daughter that Goose mentioned.
Yes.
That's Penny.
The detail's very cool. What do you think of Penny?
I liked her. I mean, she had a lot more chemistry with Tom Cruise than Kelly McGillis, who played Charlie in the original. I mean, Jennifer Connelly
a lot
is
more chemistry, yeah.
Attractive woman.
No offense to
great
Kelly
chemistry,
but she like that the love interest there, the romance in the first movie was just very dull.
Yeah,
very dull. And this one was a lot more quirky and fun and didn't take up too much screen time. Did you notice that? It was there for the perfect amount of time, I felt.
It was there for, like, a lot of it was really small, and it really served there for the end of the movie where, like, basically Rooster says, like, oh, easy for you to say, Maverick, no one's going to mourn your death. Ooh. Like, you have no one, you have no family, you have no loved ones, no one's going to mourn your death. Well, he goes on the mission, and Penny is there. Like, it ups the stakes of, hey, if he dies, he's going to abandon Penny again. Penny's daughter says, hey, don't break her heart this time.
Yes.
So, there for a purpose, and it was perfect amount.
Yep.
And they had chemistry. It was cute seeing them together.
Right. So. It wasn't the focal point of the movie, obviously, but it was just the right side story going on to build up the tension in the final act. It was beautiful. And then what about the students?
Oh, they were quirky. I liked them well enough.
Like
they were
Bob?
I liked Bob quite a bit actually,
Bob.
but I also really liked Glenn Powell's character Hangman.
Yeah.
I thought he was such a likable douchebag.
Yeah. He was more likable as a douchebag in Maverick than Tom Cruise was in the original Top Gun.
Or Iceman in the
Or
original,
Iceman. Yeah.
which, by the way,
That's controversial.
emotional in
That
this in
that's
the second movie.
that's you got to defend that though. That's controversial. People love Iceman. They're gonna go after you.
I mean, again, he's actually in the original. He is one of the more fun characters in
Yeah.
the movie, but likable. Like a likable douchebag. Like, kind of have a stick. He kind of has a stick up his butt in the whole movie, which fine. But in this one, Hangman, which is basically the 1-for-1 transfer, but Hangman just has that smile and personality, and I just think he's a bit more likable. But that's a different character, you know. So
And it's fun to see. It's kind of at first I thought that Hangman was a lot like Ice
yeah,
Man,
I
but
think so.
don't you see a lot of Maverick in Hangman? Because I think a lot of Maverick's arrogance that he had in the original movie
You know what?
is mimicked
That's
in him.
actually. Now that I think about it, I think you're right.
Remember that one scene
Well,
where where
Rooster is a lot like Iceman, where he plays it by the book. He plays, the rules. He thinks about everything. That's the whole thing with Iceman is like, hey, don't abandon your teammates. You got to play it by the rules. Like, the plane can only go this fast. He plays by the rule. He's the Iceman character.
right.
And Hangman is the Maverick, leaving his friends to just do this weird, crazy stunt. Like, oh, I'm the best. And just the arrogance. So
Yeah.
I think you're right. So,
Because there was that one line where Hangman left his wingman, and
and they both get shot.
Well, and then you hear Cruz go like, "Oh, I remember someone who used to be like that." He said something along those lines, which referring to himself. But yeah,
So in this movie, it's the protagonist Rooster and the antagonist Hangman. It's basically if Ice and Maverick switched,
yeah,
which is pretty cool. Like, I didn't.
Pretty
I mean,
cool
I
indeed.
didn't think of that in the moment, but now that you mentioned it, yeah, totally true.
yeah. Now, Iceman. What about Iceman and him being older in this movie and his death? What did you think about that?
Oh, handled really well.
Yeah,
I think so. I mean, they had to work around, Val Kilmer's disability, so they handled it very tastefully, and I think it added quite a bit. It was nice seeing, like, I just watched. I didn't grow up with the first movie, but I felt it was like the fact that they had that close of a friendship after the first movie,
yeah.
and how close they became was, that was touching.
It's nice to know
And-
the first movie, as much as we disliked the movie, but it mattered. It's not like the movie happened and then just forget about it. Let's have an entirely new plot line that doesn't make sense.
Okay, well, the second movie makes me look at the first movie with rose-tinted glasses
Agreed.
in the moment.
Agreed.
Like, if I had to watch, if I was now to watch Top Gun again, I'd probably look at it better. I'd rate it even higher because I would know where the characters are going. And
yeah.
I would have a sense of like, this is how they started.
Yep.
But the movie on its own, I did not like. But Maverick made the movie better. Although they made all the characters better. But I want to get into plot then.
Okay, let's get into plot. I love the New Hope plot line. Wait, did you like that they had this big mission?
Yes, but I mean, I don't think it's like completely A New Hope. Like A New Hope, it's tacked on right at the
I'm
end. A
joking,
trench run. Where this, I really liked the plot.
Well, what'd you give the plot out of 10?
8. 8 out of 10.
Well, I gave it an 8 as well.
There we go.
Good day, sir. Yes. Now, you gave it an 8 out of 10, so great plot.
Yeah,
You
great
liked
plot.
it a lot.
Well, it was simple, but the setup was. I really liked how much time they spent on setting up the mission, and exactly what the route is they have to fly, and show how hard it was, and just meticulous step of the danger that they're going to be in, and the ticking clock, and then doing the run. Like, you, by the end of the movie, you would understand exactly what every step of the run is, why it's difficult. And so when the actual ending comes, it's not just like, oh, they're doing a mission and they say it's dangerous. You know exactly how hard it is for them.
Yeah.
And so it perfectly builds that tension And I love that they actually do fly that run. Like, there are pilots in there that do it, and it's
How cool is the mission itself? It's a really, really cool mission that makes logical sense. You're like, oh yeah, you have to go. Yep, you have to do that, and then you have to go boom, 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 boom,
and the
escape.
ticking time makes sense. Of like,
Yes.
yeah, you do got to get out of it. Like, fair enough. Like, the whole plot made sense.
Yep.
Other than like, oh, the enemy, wherever the enemy is at, whoever they are,
Like an Iran/Russia mix, something like that.
yeah,
Iran for the uranium, and then Russia because it looked like Russia.
yeah. So, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
I don't really care about that part. But the actual mission itself made some sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that worked out well.
There was a direction, and
Mm-hmm.
I love there was a direction. You knew there was going to be a payoff here. They set up your expectations perfectly. Really great, and great plot. Not like a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 plot. It's not the best we've ever seen, but it's just a really fun movie. Yes, more of that. Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I kept telling myself.
There's definitely no particular negatives that I'd put on the movie. That's why an 8.
Sure.
The reason why 2 less is it didn't kind of wow me in the same way. Like,
It wasn't groundbreaking.
Yeah, it wasn't groundbreaking, but it was really fun and entertaining, and got a couple little twists in there that I didn't completely see coming.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only twist I'd say was
Hangman? Was it Hangman shooting the
no,
saving them?
I saw that one. It was the getting shot down and then stealing an F14.
F-14, yeah.
Yeah, stealing an F14 and then flying that out of there. That I didn't see that ending come.
Yeah.
That part of the ending.
Me
coming.
either. I'd say to be really nitpicky of why isn't it a 10 out of 10 plot is there's predictable parts. I mean, it's you could see mostly where it's going. They do surprise you here and there. But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No,
Knowing where it's going to end isn't always a bad thing.
it's not a bad thing. It just makes it not 10 out of 10 worthy.
Right. Well, it's just great. It's great for what it is. Keep it that way. Awesome. That's all I could say.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, and into cinematography.
Cinematography? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to save that for last. You don't want to do dialogue?
Oh shoot, I completely skipped it. Dialogue.
Yeah, let's save the cinematography for last. We got a lot to say on cinematography.
We do have a bit. Dialogue, I just gave a 7.
7 flat. I gave it a 6.75, so just below the 7.
Yeah.
And I could see. I imagine. So 7 meaning good. You thought it was nice dialogue.
Yeah, a 5 being like not good, not bad. It just is. 6 being pretty good. 7, we're good. I remember some lines there, like, but
What was your favorite
it was
portion?
good.
Favorite portion of dialogue?
Probably some of the stuff with Rooster and Maverick.
Are you thinking primarily of when Rooster saved Maverick after Maverick saved Rooster, and they're standing there?
You told me not to think.
And then he goes, "Oh,
fair enough."
that was funny in the theaters. There was a good laugh at the theater we were at.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was good because a lot of it was witty and fun.
Yep.
That's honestly as much as I have to say about it. It's just like it is good.
It's good, and there's a lot of classic one-liners.
Yeah.
And there is some cheesy dialogue in there, so it's nothing fantastic. There's some
but I
some
think the
lines in
cheese
there.
is handled better compared to like
Significantly.
with the original. The famous line, "I got a need
for speed."
It was said in the weirdest, like
The context.
No, like
what?
you just see the clip and
Wait.
you're like, "Oh yeah," and you're like, if you isolate the clip, you're just like, "Yeah," but watching in the movie, it just like pops out of it, and it feels so weird.
It's like a random tick just occurred.
Yeah,
like they were just walking. Hey, yeah, I got a
need for speed. It's just,
like, whoa, okay.
it just, yeah, no, it was weird. It was weird in the movie, but in Maverick, I had none of those moments.
Also, Tom Cruise became a much better actor over time. If you look in the original Top Gun, every time he smiled, it was so freaking creepy. He's He looked creepy in the 80s, okay? I'm just going to say it.
Also, he's a walking like Me Too disaster.
Yes,
In the first
absolutely.
movie, it was I was uncomfortable.
Why are you walking into a bathroom? That is a woman's bathroom. Why is she attracted to you for storming into the woman's bath? Just it's
Yeah, no,
it's a disaster. And
he
he
was a
looks
little rapey.
his smile was creepy, but in this movie, like for example, during the rooster piano scene and you see Tom Cruise looking in there with just the heartfelt emotion in his face, you could just see.
Well, also a bit more
Tom-
complex. It wasn't just sadness. It
Yep.
was also a little bit of happiness of like seeing
Yeah.
how much of Goose is in his son.
Yes.
And like, oh, look at that. Like, look at that Goose. Like,
Yeah,
look at your son. Like, so
it says so much for that because I think we'll both agree here. There's unspoken dialogue. The way you communicate through your facial expressions, we consider that dialogue as well.
yeah, I mean that's why I give Wall-E such a high dialogue score is because of how much is communicated through how much actual dialogue is communicated through very few words and more in expressions.
Exactly.
So
that
I would
cadence.
consider that dialogue
Yep.
in a way.
Yeah. So, right across the board. I mean, I shouldn't say the dialogue was good. That was fine.
good.
It was fine.
It was solid. It was great.
Did its job.
Now on to the big boy.
Cinematography. Yes.
Cinematography. This is by far like so. It is so great to see. I'm just amazed that they got this movie done. How they all of the film, all of the shots with the planes are all real. There's no CG. Like when the plane is on screen, it is not CGI, just actual people in planes, and they're able to film outside the plane, inside of another plane, and just it looks real because it is real, and that's awesome. There were moments where I didn't think, I was like, man, this is really, there has to be some CGI in here somewhere because like how did they do that? But no, it's all real, and like, oh my god. There's nothing that can replicate that feeling of like G-force. You can't fake that, or when they're literally rising out of their seat and hit their head on the ceiling or their hair moving around. Like, can't fake that. And it shows. It was awesome.
There was actually a scene where Miles Teller, his strap wasn't entirely secure, so he jumped out of his seat. You saw that?
Yep.
Hit his head, and it was kept into the movie because it was just such a natural scene. And
Well,
it really
there's
worked.
there was so much footage actually filmed that a lot of the film was not able to get into the movie because they just turned on the camera when they're in the plane, and the director can't like cut or do anything. They just have to let them fly around, and then they come down. Then they can look at the footage and then do it again.
So they can't look at the footage for like an hour.
Yeah, so they would have to just film a bunch and then cut out what they can from that and then put it together.
And it helped. They got help from the actual Top Gun instructors.
Yeah.
And
Well, the film is like they're in the back seat, and then there's the actual pilot in the front seat flying, doing all these cool maneuvers, and then the actors are in the back, and they make it look like they're in the front.
I gotta say, Tom Cruise might be the stunt guy, but I don't think he's flying those jets. That's a step too far.
He has his pilot's license.
Yeah.
He does know how to fly, but I don't think he flew all of those stunts.
The U.S. Navy actually is very strict about that, as they should. Do you know how much they charged per hour to use their fighter jets?
How much?
$11,000 per hour, which was a discount, a massive discount. Basically, they're paying for fuel. Because $11,000 per hour was the cost. However, typically it would be upwards of like 30,000, 40,000. But the Navy knows this is great PR. This is fantastic.
After the original
PR.
Top Gun came out, I believe like registration for the Air Force went up like 300 to 500%.
Yeah, I read 500% as well.
500% something. Like, so huge PR. It's worth it for them. Like if they want more recruits, like this movie is going to get a lot of people into the Navy or Air Force, whichever one.
Outside one of the premieres, I believe they had Navy recruiters outside ready to go.
Oh, of course.
So,
my God.
It shows them in a great light.
Oh, yeah. So the best military propaganda I've ever seen.
We didn't even mention what our score was on cinematography. What's your
Oh,
score?
my God. 9.5.
Oh, that's a high score.
Oh, yeah.
I gave it an 8.75. So very high. Doesn't breach the 9, but I see exactly where you're coming from. With
Well-
you, that 9.5, the flights and the practical, you consider that practical effect? Am I using that term correct?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
they're all practical.
Practical effects
Yeah.
are incredible.
The only CGI in the movie is basically the missiles.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
That was it. Which, fair enough. The perfect amount. And I'm just think back to movies like from The Dark Knight where they flipped an actual truck. How impressive and how great that looked. And then this whole movie was basically that, but the entire time, it's all of these impressive stunts. Man, gotta give it that. Like how much work they put into it, so impressive.
No, 9.5. I get it. I totally get it. I'm more being nitpicky about the first 2/3 of the movie where I'd say like 30% of the movie there's great pilot action and there's boom 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 boom. I'm considering this in comparison to other movies. I'm looking at the direction style. Is there anything innovative about the camera work, or are the visuals extraordinary? Which they're great. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, to get the 9+, it's got to be practical effects, camera work. Boom. I'm thinking, when I think of that, I think 1917 is a 10 out of 10. I think Interstellar. I think so. I'm just doing it in comparison to other movies. I agree with you. It's a really, really well filmed. Some of it's like, the natural zoom in of a nice visuals in the background. It's good. It's good. It's nothing.
I guess
It's nothing groundbreaking. But I totally like the fights. I'm walking back, so you agree with me more too. So let me walk back a little bit. Love the flight stuff. And let me walk forward and say,
oh no,
at
if
the
it's
same
just
time,
flights,
there's other stuff.
10 out of 10.
Yes.
I walked back a half point of like,
Okay.
all right, not every scene's groundbreaking. The dialogue
Fair.
scenes aren't, super innovative.
Right.
But I don't care. The fight scenes are cool.
Fair. That's why subjective rating, and we both in the end agree that Top Gun Maverick is an 8 out of 10.
Oh yeah, solid movie.
Very solid movie, and obviously recommend it. Right?
Oh, you gotta go see it.
I'm gonna make this bold claim. Maybe I haven't seen enough movies, but I think this is
Definitely.
That we have a lot of movies to watch. I'm trying to think in recent memory, but this is the, I think, best popcorn blockbuster movie to see in theaters that I can think of. It's not the best movie of all time. It's not your 10 out of 10, but it is just it's one of the most fun, just cool popcorn movies ever.
Yeah, for a while. I mean, last one I can think of that is like, I would say like the popcorn movie was Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, you got a good point there.
I remember seeing that movie. That was such I was on the edge of my seat the entire time.
Hell yeah.
Like I ran out of popcorn and I did not want to get up to refill it.
Good point. But let me talk in hyperboles. Top Gun Maverick, best popcorn movie ever.
Okay, well, guess that's our thoughts on Top Gun Maverick. Go see the movie. Let us know what you thought about it in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know what you think we should cover next. Hopefully, pretty soon, sometime at the end of the month or beginning of July, I guess. We'll be talking about Anthony Ryan's series, including The Pariah and the following book, The Martyr, and doing an author deep dive on all of his books. I'm starting this book, so I have about 5 more books to go.
And I'm on The Pariah, so I will get there.
You'll get there eventually.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.
Goodbye. What's a pun we could use? Like a good
Pun?
outro pun, like fly me to some flying pun. You get me? You get what I'm saying?
We could have ended strong, but you decided to.
I've done this twice in a row now.
Yeah, I know.
Do you have the need for?
Yeah, you can cut off like 30 seconds before this. That'd be better for us.
Last time I kept it in, really awkward ending. I think it's fitting to end it like this again.
Bye, everyone.